I'm not going to stand here in front of one of the great wonders of the world and argue about an old movie. I'll go back inside. If you figure out some plan to make $800 last a lifetime, knock on the door. I'll be in there.
You're listening to the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steinler.
All right, welcome back to Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by Bart Steinler. If you're just tuning in or you've been listening the whole time, we've been talking about Social Security myths that could really screw up your retirement. About face on fiduciary era policies are starting to take effect at some financial companies. How can that impact your accounts and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for you, what to look for in that. We discussed Medicare and the things that people a lot of times get wrong about Medicare that can have lifelong implications to you, especially financial ones, if you don't do it correctly. If you're missing part of the show, you can always find it on our website. Go to keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find the show on our podcast partners at iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. You just search for the Keeping Your Money Show. If you'd like a second opinion, maybe you need a first opinion, maybe you've been saving but you don't really have an income strategy for when you retire, maybe you don't know if you've saved enough, or maybe you've saved too much. Unlikely. By all means, we're always happy to take your call. You can give us a call at 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. First consultation, always absolutely free, no cost, no obligation. We will be happy to sit down with you and help you try and figure out where you're at and where you need to go. CNBC posted this article the other day. I thought it was pretty good because it was kind of designed for younger people in mind, but I think a lot of it can actually apply to anyone. And these are financial habits that you need to change. I think you could actually call it financial habits of people who generally are less successful than financial habits of people who are.
Yeah. I think by the picture that's on this article, it definitely is going towards the younger crowd.
And the guy's sitting at a slot machine too, which is probably not a good financial habit you should you should acquire anytime soon.
Especially at his age.
Yes. But there are some good ones in here. The one that they start out with that I think is kind of a big deal that people don't think about, or they put it off, or anytime I say the word budget, people are like, yeah. But honestly,
like my parents used to say that.
Right. So call it a spending plan, call it your mint.com, whatever. There's a ton of tools out there that can electronically help you do this without you really doing a whole heck of a lot, right? But the thing about a budget is, if you don't know what you're spending a lot more than you think you are. Mm-hmm. And one of the problems that I see, I could take a couple that had never made more than $60,000 a year in their entire lives and show you their $2 million portfolio because they lived on a strict budget and were very good about what they spent and maximized their abilities to invest. And I can show you a couple that made $800,000 a year and they have very little to show for it because they had the attitude of there's always enough money, so we just do it.
Somebody said something to me, and I was trying to make the point that they were spending too much money, and he came back with, well, it'll reproduce itself.
Right.
It'll come back
until it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. If you don't really understand your financial picture, how can you understand anything that you're hoping to accomplish? So It doesn't have to be, I'm going to spend $9 a week on coffee. But, having a general idea of this is my grocery budget, this is my housing budget, this is what I'm going to spend on a vehicle and gas. Because then when you're exceeding that, you'll have a better idea of where the extra money you should be putting away from retirement is going. And a perfect example of that, when gas was, well over $4 a gallon, I was spending obviously almost twice as much on fuel as I do today. When it came down, had I not been budgeting for that, I wouldn't have realized I had $100 and some extra a month not going to gas anymore. Well, that can go other places now, right? That's money that can go into a college fund for your kids, or to, fund a Roth account, or all kinds of things. So if you don't know where your money's going, You have no way to make adjustments to it. And the other thing is, if you don't know what you're spending every month, you're never going to be able to figure out how much you need in retirement.
Yep.
Because you have to know.
Right. And I think there's a psychological aspect to if I do the budget, I'm going to have to give up something. Well, that may be true. You may look at your budget and realize that, hey, this isn't right. This isn't working. I'm spending more than I can afford to spend. But at least you know, and then you can make the decisions on how to right that ship. I'm either going to have to make more money or I'm going to have to cut my spending. I'm going to have to cut down my housing costs or I'm going to have to give up trips. I'm going to have to do one or the other. But you have the facts in front of you and you can make the decision and you can make things easier in the future. If you don't address the problem, the longer you let it go, the bigger the problem becomes.
Well, and I think it's an error to think it's a zero-sum game, because if you continue to ignore it, you're still making sacrifices. You're just making them at 70 without being able to look at it and make that a decision. The decision's being made for you.
Right.
Because you're not facing it head on today when you can still make adjustments to it. They comment on shopping without a list and spur-of-the-moment shopping. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a list shopper. So I can't really, say a whole lot about this. But one thing they do say that I think is important in this is comparison shopping. If you're getting, if you have high-speed internet at home, which most people do, and you haven't compared the other services available to you in a couple years, you're probably paying too much.
Same with your cell phone.
You haven't shopped your cell phone service in a while, you're probably paying too much. So don't get complacent and just keep paying a higher bill every year because you're not willing to shop around. They talk about using a credit card daily, and I will say this. A lot of us, and I'm no different, use credit cards for points, miles, things that are available to them. Cash back, maybe, right? But one of the biggest problems with that is so many people allow that to override their other decision making when it comes to a credit card. There's a minute percentage of people in this country that truly pay off their credit card every month. If you are not honestly one of those people, stop using your credit card at the gas station. Stop using your credit card at the grocery store, because the points you're getting will never outweigh the interest you're going to pay. So if you're not one of those people who religiously, and I would even say, if you're not automatically set up to just pay off the balance from your bank account every single month to your credit card because you don't know if you'll have enough to pay it off that month, you should stop using your credit card.
Yeah.
You're not using it wisely. And if you have to use a checkbook or a debit card or cash, you have to think through that purchase a lot more than just swiping that Visa.
That's right. And that's especially true if, for the fun stuff in your life, for, going out for coffee, going out for dinner, movies, going out and getting drinks and stuff like that. And you just take that card out and swipe it, and it doesn't really register how much money you're spending. Then you look at the end of the month and it's like, oh my gosh, there's $400 on there.
And then the last one they talk about is being oblivious. We don't have the luxury in this day and age to be oblivious about our finances. There was a time in this country, more of a golden era maybe when it came to our finances, where we could go to work for 40 years. There's a pension provided for us. Social Security kicked in when we were 65. Interest rates were 7 or 8%. If we put a little money away in the bank, it would grow.
Medical costs weren't that high.
Medical costs were low. College expenses were low, right? All of these things were much simpler than they are today. You cannot afford to not understand financial subjects today. You have to know what your credit score is. You have to know how your credit score will affect so many other things in your life, from your car insurance to your homeowner's insurance to the interest that you'll pay the rest of your life. You have to know how your 401k works. You just have to. You can't afford to not be able to understand that stuff.
Right. Don't be the 66-year-old woman who came in here and had a letter from the place she used to work and not know if there's any money in there.
Right. Didn't even know if she had contributed to the 401k.
Right.
I mean, you can't do that.
You can't afford to be ignorant and oblivious to all these topics. You have to get involved. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to save and contribute. Yep.
All right, coming up, we're going to wrap up the show, Singe into the weekend, right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
The ups and downs of a roller coaster are fun for some people, but maybe too nerve-wracking for others. The same is true for the ups and downs of the stock market. If your palms sweat when the market fluctuates, it may be time to reevaluate your investment choices. The ride to your financial future shouldn't keep you awake at night. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY to get off the roller coaster and onto solid ground. This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steinler.
All right, welcome back to Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger joined, as always, by Bart Steinler. Bart, another show's in the books.
Good show.
Yeah. We've got football going on.
It's the season, man.
Flannel shirt soon. Hunting's around the corner.
Yeah.
It's fall. I love fall.
Laying out the beach.
Yeah, that's kind of over.
It's in the rearview mirror.
I love fall. My only problem with it is winter comes after it.
Mm-hmm.
If we had a short spring, a medium-long summer, a medium-long fall, like a week of winter, and then we went back to spring, that would be perfect.
I don't know if you heard about this, Jamie, but what some people do is they leave Michigan from December through March.
Right.
And then they come back.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I'm not sure how the schools work when you just take your kids out for 4 months. But
Oh, you can just leave them there.
I can just leave them?
Yeah.
They're old enough.
Just put a bunch of food in the house.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Like when we leave the cat for a couple days,
Right.
just leave a bunch of food out on the cupboard.
Right.
I'm going to tell my son that. He'll appreciate that greatly. He actually probably wouldn't care. If there was enough food and the Wi-Fi worked, he'd probably be fine with it.
He may not even know you're gone.
It's possible. This is the Keeping Your Money Show, where we cut through all the bulls, the booyahs, the bells, whistles, honks, and horns to get you the information that actually helps you move towards retirement. We talked about 5 financial habits you need to change immediately, what you need to know about Medicare, which over 65% of Americans failed recently, a change in some investment companies' policies in regards to accounts because of the killing off of the fiduciary rule, and then myths about Social Security that could really affect your retirement. If you miss any part of the show, you can always find it on our website. Just go to keepingyourmoney.com. Also, if you ever want to read any of the articles we talk about, we do put those out on Facebook. So you can go to our Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/keepingyourmoney, and you'll see links to those, usually during the week that we actually broadcast on that. If you ever want to contact the show, or Bart and I, maybe you need a second opinion or maybe you need a first opinion, you may do that by phone at 888-98-MONEY, or give us an email, info@keepingyourmoney.com. So, Bart, I'm going to tell everybody, like I tell them every week, you never go on a trip, you never go anywhere, plan some kind of vacation without actually planning it. You know, nobody hops in their RV in June and hopes that Yellowstone has a campsite available. Nobody goes down to Florida in February when it's freezing here in Michigan and just assumes that condo on the beach will be available. I've never seen somebody try to get on a cruise ship without having a ticket. Retirement is no different. You know, we think about it as this destination, like we got there. Yes, let's celebrate. But in reality, it's just the beginning of another journey that's going to last you 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. And if you're not planning for it and you don't have an income distribution plan designed and laid out on how you're going to take money out of your assets, it's much more likely to fail. So if you need an income distribution plan for your life, if you need a roadmap for your retirement, please give us a call. We'd be happy to help you. 888-986-6639. For everybody here at the Keeping Your Money Show, Shannon Simon, Dan Van Singel, Shane Thorson, Nate Boonster, Grant Hall, Troy Fox on the Lakeshore, our wonderful producer, Laura Redenauer, my compadre, Bart Steinler, I'm Jamie Westenbarger. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. This has been the Keeping Your Money Show.
Registered representatives offer securities through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Financial advisors offer advisory services through Securities America Advisors, Inc. Forest Hills Financial, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities.